so far, this cycle is eerily similar to what happened in 2007, not just with September 18th, not just with the 50 basis point cut, not just with coincidentally going down to the exact same number, 4.75, but also the price action or the yield on the 10-year Treasury. What's really weird too, and it's something that's fun to think about, is the most important interest rate for the economy is the 10-year Treasury, because that's what filters straight through to mortgages, as an example, and to most of the interest rates. And some of the interest rates are more short-term, but most of the interest rates in the real economy are going to be kind of a derivative of the 10-year Treasury. So what's ironic is what may have happened prior to the GFC is because the market got so optimistic on their future growth and inflation expectations from the Fed dropping rates so aggressively, the 10-year Treasury, like we said, goes up, which causes even more havoc in the economy that was already suffering. And that could have been the straw that broke the camel's back that brought on Lehman, Bear Stearns, the GFC. Again, this is not a prediction. Right. It is something I think that we need to be cognizant of, that this cycle could play out almost the exact same way, where everyone gets so euphoric about the economy that longer term interest rates actually go up while the Fed is dropping rates to try to get ahead of the recession. And those interest rates going up are actually the catalyst to the hard landing, because that's what pushes the unhealthy economy just right off the edge. I mean, it's really unprecedented what we're seeing right now in the yield curve. I went back and looked at all these cycles going back to 1980, and I couldn't find a cycle where the curve re-inverted after the Fed started dropping rates. I couldn't find it. We don't know what it means, but I'm guessing it goes back to the view of the mainstream media that the underlying economy is extremely healthy, while at the same time, we have oil prices increasing as a result of what's happening in the Middle East. And a lot of the experts, and let's just say talking heads of the market, seems to think that those higher oil prices, if sustained, could trickle through the United States and lead to higher rates of inflation. So when you have that combined with what we were talking about prior to the break, with this euphoria around the health of the economy, that means inflation and growth expectations increase, which would make sense when you see the yields going up on the yield curve, especially the 2-year Treasury going up a lot faster than the 10-year, which has created this incredibly rare, unprecedented re-inversion of the curve. And we were talking about the CME group, and they just do kind of like the betting odds, if you will, based on different market indicators for the next Fed meeting as to, are they going to cut 50? Are they going to cut 25? And just last week, the debate was between 50 and 25. Right off the top of my head, I think it was maybe like 20% for a 50 and 80% for a 25. Now, as of today, the 50 is at 0%.
It's not going to happen.
Well, the 50 basis point is completely off the table, 0% chance they do that next meeting. And the 25 basis point cut, I believe, is at 80%. And no cut at all is at right around 20% odds. So this is really crazy stuff. And what's frustrating, I think, for the average person is when they juxtapose what they're hearing from the Federal Reserve and from these data points to what they're seeing in their own life.
Yeah, at the food store, at the gas pumps.
Exactly. Yeah. Their purchasing power is declining. They're finding it hard to maybe get a job or to find a different job if they want to relocate. They're talking to their friends, and their friends are saying the exact same thing. And they're looking around themselves and just saying, oh, booming economy. Like, how are you coming to this conclusion? And I think they're right. The guy in the street is absolutely right. That would be my base case. And I think that over the next 6 months, or maybe over the next 9 months, you never know how to time these things, that the average Joe and Jane that are watching your program right now saying to themselves, no, the economy is not doing well, it's actually doing very poorly, they're going to be the people that are proven correct. And by the way, this exact same thing happened, not with the uninversion of the curve, but with the interest rates. The exact same thing. It's almost scary that it's just a mirror image or kind of a carbon copy, maybe is a better way to say it, as to what happened in 2007. So I don't know if you know this, Kim, but the last time that we had a 50 basis point cut was in 2007, prior to the GFC. And you know what the date was on that?
September.
18th is the exact same
Wow.
day.
Wow.
And by the way, you know what they dropped the rates to?
No, what?
4.75. If you guys aren't following me here,
Yeah.
this last rate cut that we got from the Fed, which started their rate cutting cycle, was September 18th, and the Fed dropped to 4.75. The exact same thing, on the exact
Oh my
same
goodness.
day as 2007.